Hello, welcome to Affinity. In the first series we did a lot of work looking at some of the different types of adjustment you can do in the adjustment tab here, like the the white balance and so on down here, brightness and contrast. What we're going to do now is going to move on to something that I freely admit I've avoided literally for years, but turns out it's very, very, very useful. And Affinity Photo does it extremely well. In fact, I found it a lot easier to use than Photoshop. And that is the idea of layers. And we're going to do this by an example showing what's happening here. And all we need to do is move over from the Adjustment tab here to the Layers tab here. And what you see first of all is a picture here, and it gives it the default name when you open a picture or background. But you can always change this, so I could click on that and say flowers or whatever I want, and a little bracket after its pixel, which means there are pixels here, there are lots of dots. Now then, if say I want to darken the background a bit here, bring out the flowers, I could go to a paintbrush here, so I could bring the opacity down, say around about like a quarter, third, something like that. Hardness is 0, so it's a very soft fuzzy edge, and then I can paint around the edge here just on this picture and just make it darker. But what if I sort of like slipped and went over things here like this and it made a bit of a mess of that? And I could start using undos, but then I end up having to go back to the beginning and start again and do the whole thing again. Wouldn't it be nice if I sort of separated out that, making it darker, into a place where I could redo it and jiggle it, but I haven't actually changed the picture here. And we do that with layers by adding another layer above here. So if you watch this here, when I go up here to where it says layer and then new layer, it looks like there's a whole bunch of things here. Actually, we will use very, very few of these. But this is one that's useful, called new layer. And look what's happened over here. There's another one appeared above here, and it is literally like it's above the picture. And what we're going to do is draw on this. We'll have the same effect as before, but because you're drawing, it's like a clear plastic layer above, you're drawing above the picture, then you're not actually changing the picture itself, which means you could take away that layer and you'd still have the picture. So let's do that. So now I go up here, I paint up here around this like this, and suppose I sort of accidentally go over this bit here and go, oh darn, I've made that bit darker. I don't need to do an undo because I'm going on this layer here, not on the flowers layer underneath it. And so if I want to remove what I did there, I could just go over here and say go to an erase brush, and again I could change the opacity here and the hardness. So I could say let's turn the hardness all the way down, but I'll leave the opacity all the way up, so in other words it is completely solid. So when I paint on this, see, it's knocking out that darkening I did, but it's not changing the flowers. So it's erasing only the darkening because I've got this layer selected, because I've only got that blue line there. I mean, this layer is selected but not this. You can only select one layer at a time. And in fact, if I click the little tick on there, some other things like Photoshop, I've got a picture of an eye, but it's got a tick. So I click that there and I've turned it off, so I can now see the original picture. And if I click that, I can now see this. In fact, I can do the same with the original picture there underneath. If I click that little tick mark there, it's gone, but what I can see is what I painted. I can see that I've missed a bit up in this corner, so I could actually paint a bit up there. No, let's go back to the brush again. I was still on the erase brush, wasn't I? Go to the paintbrush, and I could paint it back in there. So I can actually make adjustments just on this layer here by seeing what I painted. So I bring that back again, and there we are. So that's just a first look. That what you have is like different layers. It's almost like, imagine it as layers that you've got the original picture and then layers of plastic, if you like, and you can see through them all and they can all mix up together. And that's one of the other things we'll do later on, is that mixing up. But for now, that's the idea, or to think of it is literally like visual layers, one above the other. Anyway, that's it. We'll do more and more of this, so we'll do it a little bit at a time, and thank you very much for watching.